And we're going to dive into this. And this is part of the revelations that came through. So, all right, there are some that wait for instructions. See, God's words don't simply inform, they transform you. And part of the problem is that you guys are just succeeding with information, and you're going to these places and spaces for this information to receive. But the problem is that when you receive the information of the seed, okay, you don't allow God to intercede upon that seed to allow it to succeed. Because what you do is you take the information, you receive the information, but you don't do anything with the information to allow it to multiply you. So therefore, you're not allowing the information to transform you. So for some of you, you're waiting for instructions and you're wondering why you're not hearing instructions. It's because you have not responded to the last instructions that you were given. You're neglecting the instructions in which you were given in past ways. So right now, the revelation without surrender somehow. So you're having revelations, you're having tower moments without allowing that to surrender to multiply you. We were talking about this other day. We were talking about the plus sign, we were talking about the minus sign, and you keep adding things, but you're not surrendering to the things. So you keep adding information, but you're not surrendering to the information, which is allowing the information to intercede, to grow. So what's happening is you guys are taking all this information, having these revelations here, and like thinking that you're to do something with it. You're not absorbing the information to allow the flow, to allow the divine to intercede. You're not being in the natural flow of energy. Every time that you have a thought that counteracts what you're asking to bring in, see, the universal flow is, it just is. The universal flow just is, okay? It's a natural order. Okay, it's a natural order of process, like the waves, like the tides, right? The tides come and go. So then therefore, the natural order of the universe is to just flow and to just go. But every time you have a wavering thought, every time you have a wavering emotion, every time that you don't think that you can't dream or that you can't succeed, it's because you're not allowing God to intercede the seed that is being planted. Does that make sense to you? And that was part of the word that came through yesterday. So like the rivers run in flow, okay? And the more that you don't know, the better off that you are, because then you allow the interceding to take place. And so what's happening is you're asking, why? Why can't I? Why can't I see? Why can't I do this? Why can't I this? You can. You're just not allowing the divine to intercede the energy because you think that you have to do something. You think that you have to respond. You think that you have to energetically respond to the energy or energetically respond to something that comes your way. No, as long as there is food, clothes, and shelter that comes your way, you don't have to respond to anything else outside of your door. And what's trying to happen right now is you're being seated. Okay, you're being seated right now, okay? And what this means is you're being seated with prophecy. You're being seated with dreams. You're being seated with messages. You're being seated with things throughout the seams. You're being seated with then divine intervention that needs to intercede. And the interceding process is the hardest process because it's about that turn. It's about that wheel, right? So we've got the wheel, right? The wheel of fortune, right? And the wheel is always turning. But so many of you are learning that it's always been turning and burning and churning in your favor. But the way that you perceived things to be in your reality was that it was not turning in your favor because you couldn't understand the gifts that you were granted. Oh, woe is me. Why did I have shitty parents? Oh, woe is me. Why did I have addiction? Oh, woe is me. Why did I have children out of rape? Oh, woe is me. I have no motherfucking teeth because mine were busted out by my ex-husband with a fucking gun. Okay? Woe is me, all right? Woe is me gave me the gift and the ability to see, to be, to not be. The gift was me going through those experiences to learn what I was not, to learn the emotional and spiritual intelligence, okay? Discernment. You're always being molded. You're always being shaped for more. But you can't get out of the gratitude. You cannot get out of the gratitude. You have to stay in the gratitude. So as these things come up and as your emotions go astray and as people pop up and as past vibrations come your way to try to see if you're going to play in fear, in doubt, in worry, in this, in that, because it's a fury, and it's going to be, because these energies, and people are making them sound like this just catastrophic. Okay, number one. Number two, the other thing here is that you are outbeating the process. You're outbeating the mind over matter. Right? If it don't matter, it don't mind. Now, this is where you're trying to figure out what really matters to you because of Venus in retrograde. All right. So Venus in retrograde is telling you what really minds. Okay. Now, here's what really minds. God's words do not simply inform you. They transform you. When you allow yourself to receive and then to surrender to the process of the flow of the universe, it transforms you. But most of you are sitting here going, well, shit, I haven't done this yet. Shit, I haven't done that yet. God, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. But yet you feel like you're to be doing nothing at all. That's because the interceding of the seed is taking place, and you're outweighing the patriarchy of the masculine mind of the I have to, I gotta do. And if I don't do this, it's beliefs surrounding around energy, beliefs about relationships, beliefs about money, beliefs about this, beliefs about all of that. This is all that's being removed, and it's not going to be catastrophic. The realizations happen first. My team always told me, okay, and the divine always told me that it is about your perspective. And as soon as your perspective changes, everything around you changes. And so the mind has been the matter for a long time. And now you're realizing how the mind doesn't matter because it's led you astray because of the way that things have played. You don't know, and you haven't learned yet the spiritual intelligence, nor the spiritual discernment, nor the spiritual deliverance here of how those things play out, how they look on your mind, how they seed your wounds, how they play, what they feel like, what they look like, because you're learning the divine interpretation as you go. It was all a part of you growing. It was all a part of the process. And that's what you're learning through 1, 2, 3 on the clock. So you are now allowing God, which is to receive, surrender to the natural flow of order without allowing the mind, okay, to interfere with the interceding process that is near. And that's why you guys are all amped up, and we've got all the beautiful planets at play. Use them to your credibility here. Because it's not just, here's the beauty in this. And people are like, and this is the beauty. It's revealing to you limitations, doubts, and beliefs that you no longer align with. Like, there's a lot of people in the collective that resonate that they can't feel fear. They can't feel worry. They can't feel it. Like, they may have the thought, but there's no feeling that catches up to it. This is because they've mastered their mind, the magician, the alchemizing energy. So you guys are learning now more than ever how to master the mind, which is mastering the healing. Thank you, Shay. Which is mastering your healing. Why rush your healing when you can master it? Which is teaching you everything that you took, that what you learned not to do, and how you alchemize it and turn it into something good for you. Okay, so self-examples. I used to compartmentalize everything that everybody did. The reason being is so then I could use it against them later on in an argument or a fight. Now I've learned how to use that and know that Spirit's giving me information for a later puzzle date, so I compartmentalize all that stuff, right? And then it comes together like puzzle pieces. So my abilities and my gifts that I've had have allowed me to alchemize whatever shitstorm I think I had. And now you're realizing how your gift in that situation was not all a loss, and it didn't really truly come at a cost. And that was part of the message from destiny. Okay, some are waiting for instructions and wonder why they don't hear from God, but yet they have not responded to what was last said. Some look for new direction while neglecting the last instructions given. Revelation, that means revelation without surrender, okay? Wanting direction without sacrifice. Now hear me out. That word sacrifice has a very negative connotation to it, exactly like the word sin. The word sin means to miss the mark, okay? You made a mistake, you missed the mark, all right? So that's where you get to try again. That's where you are forgiven and you get to try again. That's the grace, is that you get to do it again. Because maybe you acted shitty the day before, but guess what? You have the grace to wake up with a breath, to do it the right way today, and to do the next right thing today, and to listen to what it is that is being said, that is being seeded, okay? And allow the divine to intercede with that energy so that then you can move on into the new reality, all right? Now, many seek answers but hesitate when the truth requires them to let go of their own desires. Boom. Many seek answers but hesitate when the truth requires them to let go of their own desires. Take heed to how you hear. There are those that seek guidance, but when the divine speaks, they hesitate. There are those that ask for wisdom, but when it requires sacrifice, which is surrendering to the flow of the process, faith without works is dead, they withdraw. You don't think the divine is going to put a chokehold on you and challenge you in your faith in every aspect so that when you walk through the fire, when you walk through the blaze, you can be there for somebody someday to help them carry their flag and teach them the ways and teach them the discernment and the divine intelligence and how it all works? Because you learned it, because you ate it, you slept it, you breathed it. You know how it works, you know how it plays. And also, you're always a step or two steps ahead of the person that's telling you anything anyway, because you can already see it, because you're already being told it. You are being highly connected to the divine. So, response to surrender. So there's willingness to follow, willingness to obey. Here's what I mean by that. You want to know how willingness I am to obey the divine? Because I've done it my entire lifetime, whether I've even realized that I've wanted to or not. There's some shit that's played out that I didn't even realize that was playing out right in front of my space. And then bam, I'm like, oh shit, you're serious, aren't you? Yep, serious. So serious that I had to literally go fund through, listen to me, I'm just like y'all, okay? I don't know what you assume about, ain't nobody making big bucks right now, okay? But hear me out. It's all for divine purpose, okay? There's no drought whatsoever. There's no drought. Because even when you think there's a drought, there's no drought. You're already being gifted the pretenses to see the blessings that are in multiple ways, in multiple plays happening. So you now are no without drought. There's no drought. There's no weariness. There's no fear. There's no doubt. You're seeing great in absolutely every day, okay? You can't help but pour over this fucking sacred gratitude. But here's what I mean by obedience. My entire life is completely changed over the last 6 months, if not the last 3 years. And it has finally become clear to me of what it is in Revelations that is near, that I am moving into pretensely. And so I am just like you in those ways. I literally went and just funded $150 of white clothing. Nothing but white am I allowed to wear. I don't know how long until I am instructed otherwise. $150 in zip. Okay, to literally have nothing but white clothing for the next, I don't know how long. Okay, white. That is what I am required to wear. That is what I am asked to wear. And the divine made it very, very clear. And I said, okay, divine, then make a way possible. And there was the way, and the way was possible, and the doorway was opened. It is that way. You are finding loopholes and pathways to things that you didn't think were relevant or you didn't think you could do because your perception was not at that level of awareness to be able to see the pathway through. That's the miracle of the perspective shift. So now you are able to see the different pathways. They've always been open to you. The problem is that it wasn't shown to you because you weren't ready to obey in the experience. Boom. Whoo! And then once you are ready to obey in the experience, the divine will make a way for you. Oh! Whoo! We're running deep today, fam. So then therefore, when you surrender, okay, the next door is open. And when you surrender, the next door is open. And when you surrender, the next door is opened. Ashe. Faith without works is dead. So responding to surrender and sacrifice are similar. Now, there's going to be work and there's going to be accountability and so on and so forth, okay? But it is relevant because you are surrendering to the flow of the process. I don't know anything. I just know that that's what the fuck I was asked to do, and I did it. And it showed itself to me in multiple ways, in multiple plays. And so you are now not resisting the process. You are allowing the interceding to take place. Okay? So something that you don't think is going to work is going to work. And that's part of it. It's the shadow space in relevance to the limiting beliefs and what you think is the process versus the process that's actually going to peak. And these experiences that you are going to move through over the next 6 weeks, okay? And a lot of people say 6 months is when this energy is relevant. Eclipse energy is relevant over the next 6 months. And then it's taking us right into September, which is the next set of eclipse, because we have 4 of them, 2 in March and then 2, I think, in September there, okay? So it back ends right into the next set of eclipses, okay? So it's going to be eclipse 6 months energy and then eclipse 6 months energy. This is because this is a pathway, a portal energy that they're showing me. That is a divine flow of energy that's putting everybody in flow. So yes, we have one shift that's going to take place with one eclipse, and then another shift that's going to take place with another solar eclipse. So we have the lunar, the solar, right? So that opens something up. That opens up doors. That's opening up pathways, because that's removing things that you didn't think were possible. Remember the song that we led with, okay? Over the rainbow. Why can't I? Okay, if dreams really do come true, why can't I? And that's what you're asking yourself right now. If dreams really do come true, why can't I? The only thing that you're getting comfortable with is the uncomfortability, okay? And you're asking yourself, why? What am I to be doing? What am I to be doing? Where am I to be going? What am I to be pursuing? Well, guess what? You can't see that yet because you haven't had the perspective shifts that you've needed to have for that to open up. So the lunar and the solar eclipse that we're going to have in March is going to open those doorways up for you. You're going to have the realizations. You're going to have the pathways open, right? And then that pathway is what they're showing me is literally the pathway of those 2 back end of the eclipses open up an alignment shift. Okay, an alignment shift. Now we can take this high end and we can go interstellar if you want to, or we can pull this really far down and make it very humble and very human, realistic wise, okay? So we can do all those things here for all of those that are in all types of elevation. We're going to start with the human space. So what this means is that a lot of things are going to fall away. And what it is a lot of these readers are taking these things as relationships and jobs and so on and so forth. And that may be happening for you to push you into this human alignment. But what you're doing is you're redefining your relationships. You're redefining yourself. You're redefining the Venus energy, but you're also stepping into this spiritualistic, very in tune identity. And you're realizing these mergers of the two and how your life has always been really spiritual. And now you're just having these revelations and a lot more revelations coming through. And this is putting you into alignment for your destiny, each and every one of you in different ways and in different flows. But it's putting you in alignment in this eclipse, both eclipses, not just one, because we're opening. It's like both of them need to happen for this to open is what they're showing me, interstellarly, astrology speaking, okay? So both of them have to happen. It's like both doorways have to open up. If you catch my drift. As soon as those both doorways open up, that's part of the collective shift, the collective mindset, right? So in a human pretense, this looks like I lost my job. I got a new car. I got a new job. Where I'm being pulled to go and where my flow is the difference between obligation and what the divine is leading me into. So it looks like different things in different ways. So this is all putting you, these openings of the eclipses are all putting you into a flow of alignment, okay? Remember, the message has been a lot for me, okay? No longer on consignment. Bodies in alignment, no longer in consignment. And I'm being asked to read the message from Destiny that I received on March 2nd to you guys, okay? Because this is what these shifts are going to do for you. And it's not scary. It's God moving for you in ways that you didn't think were possible. But it's all setting you up for your destiny ways. Okay? Now, okay, it's all setting up for your destiny ways. And so a lot of you have been in the preparation of the table. You keep hearing that you're being prepared, and you feel like your spirit is being prepared for something, right? And you can feel it, and it's in the air, and it's on your skin, right? And so this is where you are coming into this kind of anxious anxiety. But for me, I find it anticipation. It's like that little kid anticipation because you just don't know what's going to happen next. But yet you're sitting there like in humbled humility, like, oh shit. And then you're going back through like the last 3 to 5 years of your life and going, All right, I've walked a real fine line. I've been really, really good. You know what I mean? And I've really worked through my healing, because all those opportunities that you had to go through Saturn retrogrades and healings and da-da-da-da-da and accountabilities were all setting you up for these things. Okay? And now it's playing out in multiple ways in people's lives humanly, but it's all getting you in alignment for your destiny after these 2 eclipses. Now then, we're going to have 2 more in September, and we'll get to that message here too. So they're trying to help you understand what's taking life right now. We were talking about seeding and the divine interceding right now, and that's why a lot of you have been in the pause. That's why a lot of you have been in the clause. And they told me the clause, like, you know, the movie Santa Claus, at the bottom of the card where there's that little tiny clause, and they're like, you've been in the but, and you're like, but what? You're waiting for the what? You're at the but you're waiting for the what, okay? This is the what, all right? March 2nd from the divine. And it was actually destiny that came forward. Out of the ethers and into your life, she will arrive because you have a date with destiny. Her ways are wild and her guidance is true. She may create chaos or what looks like chaos to you. This might cause distress, but please rest your weary heart. You can trust she knows best. Not to cause you havoc or grief, no, to get you to move your feet. So you can take your seat. All bets are off. Destiny does not play by the rules like golf. She'll make you realize not all is lost and it didn't come with a cost. You need to know you can trust destiny's divine order on your behalf. Whatever goes astray, trust she knows the way. Bigger things are at play. Bodies in alignment, no longer on consignment. It's her hand closing doors, sometimes slamming them in your face. This is all so you can take your place. Nurse your ego if you must. With that happens, trust. But let your soul shout with glee because you have a date with destiny. Some call it fate, but that is a calling card from she. And this message came in on March 22nd because this is what you're being prepared for. So if you've heard preparation or table being set or that type of energy, it's because you are being prepared. You're being prepared for these doorways to be realized by you, okay? To see what opportunity you're going to take that does open up for you that puts you in alignment. Because it doesn't matter what opportunity you actually choose to take, they're all going to put you in alignment. You can't choose the wrong opportunity. Because you all have a level of discernment now in this reality that tells you if you're moving out of alignment. Because it's not going to work for you if you're moving out of alignment. The door's going to close. But there's no door that you can't choose to walk through, because all opportunities that are opening up to you in some way, shape, or form are going to put you in direct alignment of your destiny. Okay, is what's being said to me. So then these doors open up. Okay, you've got the alignment. All right, thank you. And you've got the alignment. You're free falling. And this takes me back to the message that I received the other day. Because now you guys have moved. What a difference a couple days makes, right? What a difference a couple days makes. Okay. This was a message on the last live, and I can't remember when it was. But there are those of you past the realm on a higher timeline. No idea what's here, but you're curious about what comes next without regret. You're leaning into knowing it will be exactly what you need and want to be. No longer fighting with the higher mind. Okay? You're in that flow of divine order of which way you go. Because no matter what opportunity opens up for you that you choose, it's going to put you in your path of your destiny. Now, when those next eclipses hit in the summer, it's going to be basically kind of like this closing off of this energy. Because this is like a lot of the takeoff this summer and this fall for a lot of you. Others are hitting that takeoff here. It just depends on where you're at in the flow of divine order of your emotional intelligence, your spiritual discernment, your spiritual understanding, and patterns and things that you've moved through. Okay? That's all that means. It's just an understanding of the in-between on a very in-depth spiritual level. So interstellarly speaking, they're showing me that this eclipse is opening all these pathways and all these doors to put many chosen in divine alignment. Okay, body's no longer on consignment. So what that has always been told to me, and what Yeshua has always told me that means, is that you're no longer on consignment, which means you've broken those karmas, those dharmas, generational cycles, because some of you have taken on other people's karmas. Okay, and you took on other people's karmas and dharmas because you... Okay. Because you had you had intersexual relations with people, so you took on their spiritually transmuted demons, okay? Others of you, okay, are breaking through those cycles because you involved yourself too much in other people's energy and you continued to worry about them and codependency, okay? So there's a lot of that can no longer be, all right? Is what they're showing me. So you took on a lot of people's spiritual karma, but you didn't understand why, or you didn't understand what was going on. And it seems as though hear me out now, hear me out. It seemed as though is that you were in a drought, but you kept getting blessed by thee. Everything was always taken care of. You always had what you needed. And while those around you seemed to get better, you seem to fall into this drought and under this weather. But at the same time, in relevance, with all due respect to the divine, you were still blessed because you still had everything that you needed. You took on a lot of other people's spiritually transmuted demons. You took on a lot of people's karma. You took on a lot of people's dharmas that you didn't have to. Why? Because you chose to. You chose to involve yourself in energies so that you could learn discernment, learn spiritual intelligence, learn what energies are good and good not and good and good not for you, is what was just said. Okay? To thy own self be true. So now you have no longer been on consignment. You are no longer consigning. You're no longer giving consent. Hear me out and break this down. Thank you, Jesus. Break this down. You are no longer on consignment because your body's in divine alignment, which means obligations from what you perceive are being removed. And therefore, when you start to become in this energy, okay, of seeing how you have put yourself on consignment because you took yourself out of divine flow and alignment. Remember, the beginning message here today is, why can't I? Okay, over the rainbow. Well, you can, but you think you can't because you took yourself out of divine alignment. You took yourself out of divine alignment because you spoke words of untruths against you. I can't, I don't, I ba, ba, whatever that negative pretense is. And so this is why in the transcripts it was given to me that you had to overcome every demonic voice in your mind so that you could hear the word of the divine, and that was the only voice that was left. So this is why so many people have been removed, even your guides too, because your guides are just a bumper back to the divine for you anyway, and they can only do so much work for you here. Why? Because they are 3D level energies, okay? Now, I'm not talking about archangels here. I'm talking about spirit guide, birth guide, ancestral lines, okay? They're on a barter and trade system because you're on a barter and trade system. So when you're giving offerings and this, that, and the other, and you're doing that type of work, okay, that is what people are calling witchcraft, okay? But what you're in the mindset of that barter and trade system still, so you're coming out of the matrix when you start working with your guides and working with your team. And so then you call them forth and you're doing this type of ritualistic magic, okay? It's cool. There's no wrong. There's no judgment here. Hey, I'm not one to blame either. I've done it too. I'm just telling you and teaching you what I know to be true and what Jesus is giving me to teach you and help you understand what you move through in the spiritual layers, okay? So then what happens is you start to sit here and see why you go through. There's a plateau you hit. There's a plateau. So then your soul starts, and your higher self starts to question for more, and you keep getting hit with this divine discernment to go higher, to reach for more, to seek for more. So then you start seeking for more and reaching for more. Then you start learning that you're more. When you start learning that you're more, then you're working with higher elevated beings. And when you work with higher elevated beings, there's more that they can elevate you, the clarity, the wisdom, the knowledge, but it's not without sacrifice on your end, because you're putting in the time, the energy, the effort, the work, the meditation. The reason why you meditate is because of the fact is that it actually rebuilds gray matter in your brain. But so many people receive it as a chore. They treat meditation like a chore. If you even sat with yourself and they treat it like it's boring, what they don't understand that they're doing is they're reconnecting back to themselves. They are a pure expression of the divine. You are a pure expression of God. Okay? Physical form God. And what you're doing is you're getting into that authenticity and that representation of what God wants to express itself as through you. See, all these people run around here and they're like, I have all these gifts and I have all these abilities and I'm in this and I'm in that. And I'm like, that comes from God. It's God's gifts that are working through you. Why are you not giving recompense where it's due? It is not you, it is of you. And so you're learning how to command and master and work with God energy. Because you have moved out of the levels, new devils, you've moved out of the energy of reaching for more, and you are in appreciation of your guides. You love them to death. You love your ancestors, but you've craved for more. So by craving for more, these doors are opening up for you in the deepening of your spiritual reality to connect you back to what you truly are, not what you thought you were in this reality. And when you move out of the way of the mind and you allow the divine to cascade, you're in divine flow. You are surrendering, which is allowing then the divine to multiply your life. And you're not just trying to add to it anymore to grow. You moved out of the way and you allow the divine to come through and take the energy through you. You are learning the gift of discernment and spiritual intelligence and how you learn it and how you walk through it and how it's relevant to you in these experiences. Okay? And what you're moving through is always going to move you right back to the divine and put you in alignment. But now you're more in alignment now, more forever, to come back, quote unquote, online, as they're saying, which is in the highest state of mind that you can be in right now within this density of energy that is available to you with all the shifts that are taking place. Because you're always growing, you're always changing. You are bringing heaven to earth. How do you bring heaven to earth? By the way that you change your perception of you too. Because then you allow the natural flow of energy and you no longer insert your will, your mentality, or listen to whatever monitoring spirits or this, that, or the other around you, or allow anybody to take you out of alignment anymore, because you're no longer on consignment. You no longer fall victim to the waves that those energies play, because you've learned it. And so then, therefore, there can be nothing but that alignment. So it's like people are seeing, quote unquote, opportunities cycle back to them. The reason they're seeing opportunities cycle back to them is because at the time that they were open for them in that other timeline, which means on that frequency level where they were at within their mind and their perspective, they couldn't see it because of the devil. The devil energy is not allowing you to see your ways, which is the 8 of Swords energy, the 9 of Swords energy, you running on your own will and testament, not following in the flow of the divine. Call it what you want to call it. God, divine, source, she, he, it is it. And it is sick of the masculinity, even of its own shit. Okay, and it's done with the patriarchal system, and the divine of the feminine is coming through, and it's in each and every one of you. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. Even men are tired of the patriarchal system that's going around. So the divine feminine of them, this is a heavy subject, and this is why this is part of the next shift of the women are getting ready for the divine masculine to come in. Okay? But see, here's the thing. The divine masculine right now have built this layer over their divine feminine. Their divine feminine is what they're acting on, but they're acting on the lower level of the divine feminine. So they've built a defensive layer over their feminine layer that is in defensiveness. So they're wounded. So they think they're acting in their masculine, but actually they're acting in their feminine that's wounded, right? So how are you going to help the men rise? Only by coming out and stepping into your divine femininity and being in alignment, because you're going to have to know absolutely everything that they're doing before they do it, why they're doing it before they do it, and so that you can allow the divine to actually take over for them, and you don't have to insert yourself, okay, in ways that you have, because it's not going to be toxic. It might be emotionally draining to you, but you have to move out of the way of always wanting to fix things. And you have to learn how in past ways you have casted witchcraft upon your own relationship in multiple ways. Because the moment that your partner or your husband or your wife or your whatever, your counterpart sits here and pisses you off, you're not going to believe what Tommy fucking did today, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that motherfucker, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to beat his motherfucking ass. Congratulations. You just cursed him and you just cursed you. Congratulations. You have to see where you needed to take accountability, and you caused demise upon your own relationship in multiple ways. It could have been the partner for you, but because you actually speak life and death off your tongue, men and women both, you cascaded your own demise upon your own relationships. Let's talk about how the devil moves in relationships. Okay? And so then, okay, then instead of taking your irritation and your pissing off and going, ancestors, somebody come get him, and you're being instructed to be quiet and breathe, and you're going, divine, come get him. And you don't respond because you know what's going on. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to bend over backwards, but there will be a come to Jesus meeting at some point in time, because the men that are coming to the table, okay, and women that are coming to the table have at least as much intelligence to have the accountability when something's not right, because they're not involved in toxicity anymore. There's a lot of healing that's gone on behind the back door for men and women both. But women, you have to get into full alignment. There can be no feeling of past coming up when this man or woman or partner or co-partner of yours in any way, shape, or form does something that irritates your spirit or pisses you off. Because you have the emotional intelligence now to know how powerful you are. I have never had to bite my tongue harder in anything. And I was told a very long time ago that when I was being prepared for this relationship, okay, I had been through the worst, and everything that I had learned in past relationships in the situation that I was in 6 years ago, okay, it was actually teaching me for this, and I didn't understand that. Now, that's terrible. That was absolutely terrible, horrific situation that nobody should go through. But in that experience, yes, so much smoother, but the emotional intelligence to be able to decipher and discern, not from a wounded space, but from an observation space of being able to see why that person is reacting that way, why that's coming to play, the observation of the whole situation of energy at play, and your accountability in your energy to not react or respond in any way, because you're going to move everything out of alignment when you do that. Okay? So you have got to heal all of that. So I get a lot of people that come to me all the time, a lot of mentees. They're like, oh, I'm feeling this. And they're going, but it's so much stuff. It's so much stuff. And I said, yes, whether that feeling is fear, worry, or sadness, think about how many other situations, okay? Think about how many other situations that feeling has come up in your life. That feeling is connected to 150,000 other situations. But you have to realize that those situations are not taking place. So you're acting out of alignment in the first place because that feeling is actually cascading past emotions that are showing you that you're still connected to. So you're having to release the lower level emotion here. Okay? You feel a certain type of way. That feeling probably cascades a thought. More than likely, the thought happens than the feeling. You have to find out in your own way. Is it the thought and then you have a feeling, or is it the feeling and then you have a thought? Because that's going to tell you everything of how you need to stop the energy and redirect. Okay? So when I work with mentees and stuff, this is what we work on in multiple different ways, not only humanly but spiritually. So when you stop that, then you're able to feel through the pretenses of what's next. All right? So women, you are having to, and men both, you're having to heal in multiple ways that you haven't had before, because you're seeing how that feeling that you have right now has actually no justification to anything, some way, somehow, that's absolutely happening in this present tense. So you're having to stay very present. And then not cascade in more thoughts, because the mind is a terrible master. Okay? And what you're doing is you're allowing the mind to become the slave, where it's been a master, and now you're allowing the mind to become a slave to the divine ways, to the natural order, which is the heart and the solar plexus space. These shifts of the eclipse and the interstellar energies that are coming through, because they want me to go back, is pushing you in alignment to be able to receive the opportunities. So it's like a funnel they're showing me like this. I don't know why, but they're showing me a funnel. Okay? So they're showing me a funnel like this. So you're going to start out here in these energies, and then boom, this is going to open up to you. Because you're going to see opportunities now in ways that you didn't get to see them. Because of the revelations, okay, that you're having because of the higher awareness. All right? Every time that you come into a higher state of Christ consciousness, a higher state of awareness of yourself, of other things, and truth of the matter, because the only reason why darkness exists is because the light hasn't been shed upon it, okay? Period, end of story, all right? So therefore, it's lack of information. So as soon as you shine light onto that darkness, it is in no longer lack of information. There is information there for you to work with, okay? Such as, why do I feel that way? Why do I act that way? Why do I behave that way? But what happens is you allow the mind to cascade and create more feelings. You can't fix a thought with a thought. So therefore, in that pretense, okay, you have to figure out how to get out of your own way and stop that thought. And you have to change the environment at the moment that you have that thought, because the moment that you sit there, okay, and you have that thought, whatever behavior you're doing at that moment, that thought is then going to be connected to that behavior. Why? Because that's how the brain works. So you have to immediately stop everything that you're doing, change your scenario, change your energy, and change the way that you're thinking. Because the only thing you have to do in that moment is change everything, because then your brain and the energy completely get scrambled and you have a new beginning. So remember when you'd always hear, I get to restart my day whenever I want, right? That's that type of energy. Because you're realizing that in that moment, if you don't stop the thought, you're going to have a feeling that cascades behind it. All right? This is part of the evolution of mastering the emotions, okay? The spiritual intelligence, the emotional intelligence, all right? Now, hang on one second here. I might have, hold on. Give me a second. I just had an important... Okay, cool beans. Long story short is that your energy now is being pushed into alignment. So this is Venus in retrograde that is having you redefine your wants, your desires, your needs, your boundaries, what you want to seed, what you want to allow the divine to intercede in your life, and what you're going to choose to give your energy to. So any past emotion, because most of the time how you would bleed on the next relationship is you would take the emotions and you would judge somebody from a past space, meaning a past relationship, a past feeling, whatever, in that pretense, because it was the emotion that was bringing up absolutely everything from the past, okay? And when you were sitting there, there's no communication. You don't know how to communicate because you're working in lower level dimensions of energy. So all of this healing has gone on. Remember when I said it was the Great Mind crossover, okay, and we had the eclipses a couple years ago? When that second eclipse hit and that form was over Texas, that was the rise of the divine feminine. That's when a lot of the divine feminine really, really dug deep and started really waking up and started really, really, really healing and started going, wait a minute, hold on. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't. Really started diving deep and using the intuition, coming back online, okay? With moving the emotion, okay, and healing those things in multiple timelines in multiple ways is what's being said. There was a revision of things, right? So you had to cycle back through things because a lot of you wanted to understand why, so the universe showed you why. So you recycle back through things is what they're showing you, okay? And then that built a lot of growth, okay? That was a lot of growth and a lot of healing that you went through with the divine. Then, now what's happening is the opportunities that couldn't come through for you because you couldn't see them there, because you were in a different spiral of life is what they're giving you, okay? From that portal that was opened, all right, after the Great Mind crossover, you then, okay, jump to a higher timeline. This is the same thing that's happening here. So all of you are getting ready for this jump. But this jump is going to ask you to surrender more than ever because you're wanting to multiply. So when you surrender, you're actually in the flow of the energy, not what you know, not the mind. You're in the higher mind of the energy of when you say something negative, it doesn't even feel right. You actually feel the opposition in that timeline. I hope that makes sense to those that need to hear that have relevance to. So you're actually going, hold on, this is my discernment. So there's a level of discernment that you've learned. There's a level up. You don't know what's coming next, but you know whatever it is, it's going to multiply you, okay? So it doesn't matter now what you choose because you're going to see multiple energies show up for you and multiple choices that you have available to you with this eclipse energy coming through. Yes, you are on the last pinpoint, and I'm not saying it's not hard, and I'm not going to not recognize the energies that are at play of the mind trying to cascade off and worry and doubt and fear and all of these things, okay? And these are more interpersonal things that I'm feeling rather than like overall worry about situations as a overall collective energy. It's like there's a lot of interpersonal situations that are going on in people's lives that are cascading different types of doubt or worry or fear or anxiety. And yes, I know. That's because you know the end of this timeline for you is near. Now, when I say that, that's not fear. Ending of that timeline, meaning ending of the doubt, ending of the worry, ending of those things, because now you can see the opportunities that are actually available to you because of the interceding that has taken place since the beginning of January, February. They're actually showing me there's a lot of interceding since October. So a lot of the divine feminine and masculine within the collective energy has been seeding something, okay? And then now it's being interceded, which means the divine is interceding in different ways to allow those things that are seeded like a plant to grow, okay? But there's going to be multiple ways that you're going to be able to do that because your schemata is bigger now in the hoops that you can jump through or how you can get this done, or you might think it's hard to do that thing, but in reality when you actually start to do that thing, you're like, wow, that was way easier than what I thought. There was a timeline, there was a phase when it was harder because you couldn't see the ways. You were in a different level of energy. Now you're on a different level of energy and you might think those things might be hard or you might have a lot to do or X, Y, and Z. But it's not. It's available to you. So you're having to move out of the way of what you are trying to bring from the past into the moment now, okay, that isn't going to work. It's not going to work. So some of you have to be shook up by the divine to show you that it truly is time, or you truly are in alignment. But when I say shook up, it's like blessings or miracles that you didn't see, that you couldn't see, because you couldn't see the difference in all the miracles because of your personification of what miracles and gifts and abundance was under the pretenses. So now you're able to see those things. Yes, miracles, walking in faith, miracles, and wonders. And now you're able to see faith, miracles, and wonders in multiple ways, in different ways. So that's allowing you to see the doors of opportunity that are opening up for you from the divine in multiple ways, okay? This drought, this sit down, this deepening of this core that was trying to cause doubt and more was building you in emotional strength, emotional growth, mental growth, spiritual growth. It was all about getting you ready. Getting you ready. Now, because think about where we are. Think about where we are. We're right here at the beginning of spring. So now the interceding is taking place. It all kind of goes back to astrology here too. Okay, so now the interceding is taking place for these things to grow that you know. Multiple ways. And I have been told over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that the divine and Jesus and God are moving through the collective in ways that are going to be remarkable that you're not even going to believe, even in your own personal lives. Because you're open more to receiving, because you're receiving. You're able to see the gift that you've been given because your level of comprehension and spiritual relevance has changed. So no matter what you choose in this timeline with the eclipses that are opening up for you, okay, it's moving you into alignment, and you're no longer on consignment. You're also no longer consigning to lower level energies that do not match with things that feel comfortable or feel good to you. That's also how you know that God's words are not just informing you, they're transforming you. Because anything that does not feel good and just informs you is not of God. God brings confirmation, deliverance, truth, okay, transformation. All right. And so if you have been out there just trying to pick up information to consume, to get you to have revelations about what's happening or what's coming through for you, then maybe you might want to think about how you receive information, because the divine is asking you that ye seek first, and that will truly be given to you in which you seek, rather than continuing to try to not trust the divine and receive information outside of you too, is what God is saying to me right now. So Jesus is asking you to literally sit in Christ consciousness, in higher awareness, and sit in a timeline where it is not treated as a chore and it is not treated boring, and you sit in meditation to grow the gray matter in your brain. Now it's relevant to your experience of how you choose to do that. Whether you choose to do that through active meditation, whether you choose to do that as a drawing, because sometimes a lot of people, when they think of meditation, yes, it's so that you can raise your consciousness, so that you can grow gray matter, so your consciousness expands and your awareness expands to multiple things, okay? But When you sit with yourself, you're sitting with God anyway, because you are a divine representation of God in physical form. And so, yes, a new star is being born. That's beautiful. Okay, I don't know who needed to hear that message, but there's a new star that's being born. And so, which means you're going to come to many, many revelations. And so you're coming into divine alignment and coming back into connection with your divine self, your highest self, God's self. Okay? It is, it was, and it always will be. Okay? It is, it was, and it always will be. The way that you bring heaven to earth, you've had to learn how to trust those ways in multiple things. So now you are moving on to higher ways, okay? Really asking you to spend time to connect. They keep saying revelations are going to be huge for a lot of collective that choose to ensue and seek and sit with self to peak. Okay, I love it when they use the word peak, because for those of you that have been in past situations of many different things, okay, when they use the word peak, you know what you know. And they were showing me that when you actually sit in this, you're actually going to come to a peak of awareness and higher consciousness that you've been seeking, because there's going to be a connection that moves through you that you've been seeking. And what that brings me to is, in order to receive God, oh, here we go. Yes. In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive in order to receive. In order for people to believe, they have to be able to perceive in order to receive, to feel God the divine is real. In order to feel God is real, they have to believe in something that the human mind can't perceive in this dimensional reality to receive. Okay? So you're being moved in a different way. You're stepping into a higher power, per se, okay, within your own flower, that is allowing you to see and to choose multiple pathways, because the opportunities are open. These things are changing here through your different devotions and your notions, okay? You're talking about timelines crossing, so a lot of you may be in and out of timelines crossing right now. So this is where... sorry, I got ink all over my desk, and that bothers me because I keep my desk white as shit. So there's a lot of timelines merging. So you may have people come back up. I had people that I hadn't heard from in a little while hit me up, like 3 of them in one day, and I was like, here we go, thank you, before retrograde. And it's not anything negative. It's just the energy that occurs, right? Because people can feel you moving away, all right, in a higher form or fashion or way, energetically speaking. And it's not negative, but a lot of people put a negative thing on it. Now, there might be negative situations, and I understand that, but in relevance, hindsight 2020, people mainly are probably don't even know why. They're just like, oh, I just feel like I need to reach out, because they're intuitively doing it, right? And on that intuition, they don't know why they're acting on it, but they're like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I want to reach out and say hi. And I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, and I'm like, yeah, everything's great. And that's it. You know, that's all that is, and that's all that it needs to be. But a lot of people put it in negative concepts of, oh, you got an ex coming back. Oh, you've got a karmic soulmate coming back, or this, that. It's not negative. It's to also prove to you that you're moving into a higher timeline of reality. Okay? So it's just very... you're transitioning, and you're allowing things to you're allowing things to transform to you in multiple ways as you push through this. So the divine, okay, so think of the universe as a whole, the divine source energy, the masculine is taking over. Now, the divine feminine of that energy is no more, all right? It's not having it. So this is why they always told me all women at the center and all vessels open. Because the divine feminine energy, whether you're a man or woman, is going to be coming forward to lead you, to guide you, because you're coming more into Christ consciousness, the godlike self that you are, okay? The more that you resist the process of coming into alignment, the harder it's going to be on your body. Okay? Meaning the more you're going to fight with your head, and the more you're going to have physical dis-ease or disorder caused, like you get sick or this or that, you have all these ailments that come up. It's because you're not in divine order, divine flow. So you're being pushed into that divine order, divine flow, because many of you are ready to receive your partners, right? You want to receive your partners, right? You're ready for this crossover to close out. But what you're having to do, feminine, is you're having to step into, and men too, you're having to step into this experience of this shift, of this portal, to open up the opportunities for you. Friendships, relationships, new networking, new opportunities. Just because an opportunity doesn't mean it's not somebody shaking your hand and you networking, meeting somebody new, or you learning something new, or you gaining a new teaching, a new knowledge, or a new mentor, or whatever that is for you. When that is ready to appear to you, you are then ready. So this eclipse is opening those things up to you, and this is where then, boom, you're in alignment, because the networking or the person that you needed to meet is right there to intersect and intercede what's been seeding inside of you that the divine has been growing through you. Okay? You're welcome. I'm grateful and I'm humbled that I get to be of service and I get to do what I do. So when people get all this angst up energy, okay, even Yahweh is like, whew. Yes, we know there's going to be shifts. Yes, we know that things have to shift. Yes, we know that they're constantly shifting. So even when it doesn't look like anything's going on, there's a lot going on spiritually and energetically. If you feel like you need to rest, rest. If you feel like you just got to watch for overindulgence in any way right now, because the scales are, you're trying to learn the balance within oneself, right? So overindulgence in any way. Too much, not enough. And you're learning what those scales are for you right now at play. And this is forcing you, this energy is forcing you into more of a balanced scale within yourself and then without of yourself. Because you're craving this stability. You need this stability to be able to do what the divine is asking you to do. So then therefore the perception of the beliefs of the false reality of what you think you're seeking, or what you define as worth to you, or how you receive the divine, or how you receive the abundance and the prosperity, is all being removed in this timeline. Okay, 129. I don't know why they told me I had to point that number out. 129. All right, new beginnings, balance, and endings. All right. Allow this energy to do what it does for you naturally. It is a gift, because all it's doing is putting you into recompense, which is alignment to receive. And it's been hard for you guys to receive because of the fact is that you have been in defense mode. You haven't wanted to get to know anybody, or there's been codependent measures, or you don't want others to be codependent. Well, there's been a lot of healing that's gone on in the background in the collective, and people, places, and things that maybe you once judged or looked at in a certain type of way, it's changing in your perspective. It's not necessarily always the people that are going to be changing. It's your perspectives about the people that change too. And those perspectives about the people that change in your life will either grow and flourish you and help you grow, or they'll either bring you down, and that's what you're seeing to let go of. And that's the beauty here, okay? That's the beauty. The growth, the interceding process. And God and the divine have been speaking to me online a lot about the interceding. So between October, because remember, April, spring, right? Okay, since October, there's been a seeding process that's gone on. And the interceding through this eclipse energy, the interceding is going to take place to put you in alignment. You're no longer on consignment, which means you're no longer playing into false realities. You're demanding truth. You're demanding accountability out of yourself. So that is therefore going to bring those that are accountable to on your same vibratory level to you, right? So all of what you're asking for, you're actually seeing happening. It's just not happening the way that your human mind expected it to in relevance, okay? Thank you very much. So a lot of people are ready for their partnerships, but here's the deal. Don't do shit while Venus is in retrograde. Don't change your hair. Don't text an ex. Don't start a relationship. Don't do it. Wait till April the 12th. Because this lust energy is all over the collective, because that's part of Venus retrograde. Temptation. The art of temptation. Okay? And sometimes if you tempt yourself, you're going to take yourself out of alignment of what you once were feeling. So, of course, big purchases, it just means that don't throw yourself into anything. Don't throw yourself into anything. Obsession, right? Compulsion. That is a part of this Venus retrograde. It's showing you where you're compulsive. It might be showing you where you're obsessive. It might be showing you and might be tempting you. But don't play into that energy and allow things to be revealed to you. Yeah, I see. Thank you. A lot of you are removing what we call in my world monitoring spirits, okay? All right? You hear it, you feel it, you see it, you're removing it. And then I just drew two eyes that actually they're having me turn into a butterfly. So this is the art of transformation, okay? And this interceding is now taking place. So think about it. They showed me October to April. A lot of you have been in this kind of like either law or this downfall, and you've been having to fight through things and move through things and so on and so forth. And a lot of spiritualists and a lot of people call it, you got somebody projected on you, somebody did a curse, somebody did a hex, blah, 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 blah. But in relevance, actually, that time in which you're sitting, okay, it's actually remolding, reshaping, rebuilding you, and it's actually allowing you to see the level of accountability of what needed to change around you, all right? What you wanted to grow. So there was these little seeds that were planted. And now, through this eclipse, the interceding is going to take place. It will all be relevant to each individual experience and what their destiny has been written out that they've chosen to step into. So when we use the word destiny, okay, it's coming into your highest timeline, okay, and it's not about monetization. It's not about monetary value. It's about the spiritual connection that you have to yourself and to the divine. It's not about monetization. It's about you connecting to yourself, your highest vibration, and the highest of the divine. For those of you that are in the understanding of everything that you put before the universe, you will lose. It means that everything that you put before yourself and your devotion of your destiny of being in motion, the moment that you try to intersect upon that, you're going to take yourself out of that. You've already done that. That doesn't feel good. So you know exactly what not to do. So now this April is going to be big for many people. And this is where the divine showed me the blessings, right? The heavens have opened up, bringing heaven to earth. But bringing heaven to earth isn't about monetary value. Because what you're doing is you're doing exactly what the divine asked you to do, to build, to create, that is going to benefit others, but also benefits yourself, because it's never been about you. The gifts have always been about for the others. Give to the one that gives to you, giving so freely, right? And so you are now in that movement of what you're dreaming. It's not for your betterment. It's for bringing heaven to earth and for bringing in the new earth, as everybody's calling it. It's the frequency of the feminine, of the divine, because it's the seed of creation that's recreating itself again out of the masculine identity, because you've had to do that within each and every one of you. So energetically speaking, universally speaking, the divine is doing the same thing. And so now, through you, these creations of love, community, vibration, understanding, faith, okay, those things that you were told that you were going to, let me speak it this way, the things that you were told that you were going to have as a kid. Do you remember, hear me out, do you remember, of course, and I know you do, when Michael Jackson was big and the Free Willy movement was big, and it was all about the kids, and it was all about, all these blessings, and it was a really magical time, right? And you were always told that you were going to be blessed, and it was going to be big, and that was part of the thing, that you were going to be left. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. And so then what's happened, thank you, they just changed my life. And so then what's happened is things got changed and things got fucked up, all right? A lot of shit. And we won't go into that because that's just many deeper layers that we're not here to discuss right now. So then, okay, what's happened is you are being gifted the opportunity to bring those things through so that you can leave your legacy, your mark, what you choose to leave behind of the divine, that the divine has used you for, that can continue to succeed and seed the seed of creation of the eighth fire prophecy, which is all what we have chosen to be born here to turn this environment into in one form or another. We won't get into that. There's many different discussions and layers right now too. So this is all a part of the restructuring and the rebalancing, okay? And so, yes, there's going to be a lot of fear. There's going to be a lot of this, because once they pump it so far and it hits a threshold and so many people decide to jump on that roller coaster. Look, I didn't even realize that I drew the yin and yang symbol here, guys. Look at that shit. And I didn't even realize that I basically drew the yin and yang symbol. Because once they hit so far of a threshold and so many people choose to take ride on that roller coaster, okay, your light, not stepping into that timeline, is having to battle the opposite force of energy. So yes, you don't necessarily see this all the time, but you're getting tired. The moment that you sit there and the moment that you accept some type of negative vibration in your energy, let's say it's a reading and some bullshit, or somebody did this to you or whatever, right? And it's just some negative bullshit. The moment that you accept that negative bullshit in your timeline and you see it and you reach for it, you've consumed it. So now you're in that timeline. So then you got to fight through it. So then you got to fight through the higher, you got to fight through the lower timeline, which you're in, to back to the higher mind again, to get out of that timeline. Now, you're all coming into that higher mind, the balance of the yin and the yang, okay? For those of you that would like today to hang out with me and receive a healing with myself or Yeshua, or you would like to receive a divine intention intervention message, the link is in the bio there, all right? And I'm going to start here in this area. Okay, there's some clearing here. All right, D, there's some clearing. All right, so if you guys would like to step into that space with me, you're more than welcome to. I will do my best to get this up on YouTube, as I always do. All right, this is funny, D. I just literally, I was trying to write your name, but I wrote Dre. All right, so there's some type of connection to back in the timeline of 2000, 2001. They're talking about Dr. Dre right now. Just let me make the connection. All right, Dre is turning into dreamings. So there's something around that timeline that you were dreaming, okay, that is coming back up for you in this new timeline that you are succeeding through right now. Okay, Dre timeline, and we're talking about Dr. Dre. We're talking about the music timeline, the industry there of that timeline. So the reason that they took me to that industry and to that artist is because of the fact is that there was something that you were dreaming between 2000 2001 energy that is actually coming out to play in this timeline. All right. They are giving me the star energy right now. And what this means is that you are not only healing through things, but you're healing through things so very quickly. The star energy is healing through things so very quickly, but also gaining enlightenment at the same time. You see and feel this pull away process. And it's cool because what they're giving me is they're giving me the relevance to the rose. The relevance to the rose is the divine Sophia, okay? The divine Sophia, of course, is in connection with I'm so sorry, with Isis, with Mary Magdalene teachings, and they're talking about the Divine Sophia book. So it's because the sacred rose. Now you hold the sacred rose in your room, but you hold the sacred rose of healing in the DNA as well, because you remember Sarah was born into this world soon after Mary. Well, not soon after, but when Mary ran away with Peter to France. Okay, and there is a new star that's born, so they are coming back here now to the reference of America and America being birthed new, and they're giving me the flag, of course, and Jesus is holding the flag again with baby Jesus, with another baby Jesus inside of it, basically saying a new star is born, a new America is born, and so there is something that you are torn between doing or obligating yourself to and then falling into as well. And this is part of the healing and receiving that you're going through in this timeline. Something is about to swell for you. So there's some type of artistry that you're actually going to be moving into, and where you started in your creations were only giving you a fine-tunement in elevations and revelations. Excuse me, there were two words that were simultaneously coming at me. In elevation and revelations here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to you, that it's almost like you're gonna understand why you went into the details of what you were going into the details to. So far, give me a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 9 stars is what I drew, and it's 1:44 on the clock here too. Okay. If you needed any more confirmation of something that you're cycling through, that's bringing through, but there's something that you were dreaming of having, doing, seeing, believing in this timeline of 2000 is what they're giving me, 2001. Okay. Maybe there's some type of music back there that's going to spark this intervention, meaning the seed of creation or something. There's a reference there to music in that timeline here too. Okay. It's funny because they literally just said to me, no. KNOW, not what you do, and it's not in a negative way. That's why it was said so very softly. No. But no now. Know now what you do. So there's been a lot of divine revelations that you've had in the last week or two. This is breaking through barriers, breaking through self, because what I see is like really this fireball of this phoenix coming out right now. Okay. They're showing me too that succeeding in this energy of the sacred oils, the sacred womb, there's sacred practices here. They're bringing up death doula here too, and you have to remember that the energies of Mary Magdalene, who Magdalene actually means magnificent for those of you that didn't know, and she only became Mary Magnificent after Jesus was sacrificed on the cross. And so once he was sacrificed on the cross, he was already in outer body. He was already in outer body experience. Okay, so he was already outer body. So then therefore, that always was the case, and she knew how to rise and elevate his soul so that he could have outer body, so that when that shit was taking place, he wasn't even in body experience. So she had the magic within her through sacred oils and sacred teachings and sacred womb healings that she was taught by the mystics of Isis and so on and so forth. Okay, in relevance here of what she taught, she was a teacher and a healer and an activator in sacred oils. And so you have the ability here to do this with others and to activate others through different types of awakenings. Now, the letter M keeps coming up to me, and anytime, I'm telling you, anytime that I'm starting to channel certain letters, it means that the energy of that archangel is very relevant to you. The name M, Michael, is coming up over and over again, and I start drawing M's. And so therefore then that means to me that whatever it is that you're moving into is highly okay, it's highly eradicated, and they're saying erratic, okay, but it's just because of how things start off to where they actually end up at play. But it's actually under divine order, and it's under heavy protection too. You know not what you do for good reason. This is the cute little naive puppy dog inside of you. And there's been multiple revelations now coming through. So they're bringing out death doulas. So you have an obsession with death. You have an obsession with demonic energy here. And so you are actually one of the sacred oils and the sacred teachings that can level out that experience and actually remove those energies off of others and people like myself. But you are also in a place where in relevance to experience, you can also cross others in a sense, quote unquote, astrally to the other side as well. It's like you get their body, you prepare their body. The 7 sacred oils is what they're bringing back to me, okay? And they said the 7 sacred oils of Mary, which just goes into the 7 sacred oils of the Egyptian process there in which we were taught. Womb space. So there's just been a lot of womb clearing. Now they're giving me the vision right now of a big old oak tree in your womb, okay? And I don't know what that reference is. I mean, I get it. I know the weeping willow more than anything. But there's a big old oak tree in your sacral womb right now. This is the strength. This is the divine feminine energy. Okay? And they're talking about the different pathways in which you've chosen to build this tree. It's like this is your tree and this is your tree that you've built. And originally what they're showing me is a house no longer built on stilts. What they showed me at first is a big old strong tree trunk, right? With just like the stick branches coming out of it. And the stick branches, you're ready to be activated 2D. All right. Give me a minute and I'll do that. So they showed me a whole bunch of stick branches in the oak tree, all right? And so then after the oak tree came out, then they put a whole bunch of beautiful full leaves and full branches on that. And this is the signification of being in a drought. And then they put a whole bunch of leaves on it, okay? And so all these leaves are about, and so these leaves are coming into play right now. They keep talking to me about activation, activation, activation. So I'm going to start working on that space right now as you and I speak. In the heart space, not only because I say that it is and because I know what it is and I know exactly what they want. And so we're interceding that space right now as I continue to speak to you in the background. So you're going to feel me in 2 places at one time. You're going to feel the heart burning. You're going to feel the heart sensation. You're going to feel it opening up in this timeline. This way it keeps it very sacred and very specific to you, and nobody else receives that energy that is specific to you in that sacredicity. So we're just going to keep moving here through the layers. Now, what they're showing me here too, as above, so below, and they wanted me to turn my picture upside down. But what's interesting about the pictures, they're showing me, okay, thank you. They're showing me this is that portal opening for you. Okay, so there is divine revelation and spiritual intelligence. Sophia. So she's just reaching out to you like crazy. It could show up to, like, energetically speaking, lower dimensional self of Sophie would literally be Hecate or would be Lilith in that way, right? So the crossroads, the death energy, the rise into something more that you know. They're showing me the Thunderbird here too for you. Now they just gave me a very relevant symbol to you, and you're going to have to divine and sit with this, although I don't know, maybe it means something in Japanese. I don't know. I've never drawn anything like that before in my life, but I'm not going to be able to do it again, but I'm going to hold it up for you here. Okay, so this is the significance and the relevance here of what they're showing me. So if you want to screenshot that, please do. All right. And that is some type of symbolization or message specific to you. Hold on. Let's go. Come on. Fight past the understanding of what you think is present tense, D, of God, and move past the receiving and allow yourself to feel it. Come on. It's almost released. I'm like, literally, it's right the fuck here in my throat now. It's almost completely clear. We're about to budge it through. Give me a second, D. It's about to pop. It's literally right in the throat. Why are you showing me a Twinkie? Pulling of the... Because I can feel it. Okay, you're not showing me a Twinkie. I get it now. Oh my God, thank you, D. Finally. It wasn't a Twinkie that they were showing me. You know, one of those Chinese fingers that they were showing me that's open on the ends and you can pull it, right? And you were pulling it. It's like you kept resisting it. And so it was like growing longer, right? It wasn't a Twinkie. It was like growing longer. It was one of those Chinese finger things. And it was growing longer. Okay? Because you were trying to pull it and resist it. Now it's shifted. Now it's opening up and open through. So the resistance of what you thought. There's just childhood resistance there. And now it's been removed in the air. One more. We've got one more to do in the crown layer here. So give me a minute. It's the crown to the star and the star beyond. So give me just a second here. Okay, cool. Thank you. So here's the deal. There was yesterday that I was sitting here and I was with the younger client of mine, and the word Noel kept coming through, and I started to draw Noel again too. Okay. Now, the word Noel comes from Natalis. Okay, Natalis, all right, originally meant birth. Okay, it meant birth. All right. And then in the 18th century, words took it over in the English dictionary, in the English language, and they gave it relevance to Jesus' birth, Christ's birth. It's connected to Christmas, of course, but they keep saying the word Noel. So this is the birthing of the Christ consciousness of believing, of no longer seeking, of being able to feel what really is real for you. Okay? There's something about peanut butter here. So there's more protein that you need to consume. I'm putting my Master Herbalist hat on here for a minute. They're showing me that you need to consume more peanut butter because you need more protein. So even if you eat spoonfuls of peanut butter or peanut butter crackers, okay, through this time, your body needs more protein at this moment in time. All right? Noel, the new birth, and that makes sense as to why they had me draw all those stars. But just to give you sequence, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stars that I drew. And then the letter M started flowing all over, and then the tree. And then we've got Noel and Natalis. So, and then the whole Chinese thing. So, 2 more. Okay, you're going to crash at about 3-4 p.m. your time today, so I hope you don't have anything to do. You will crash on an energy dump as all of those formulations and activations are intersecting with you. Sometimes when we do these works and we do these elevations, you get tired from the energy and the intersecting of the energy of the pulling out and the new programming and the new energy that's putting in. So you may feel a little sleepy later on today. That is that energy then intersecting and actually merging with you and opening up to you. So a lot of times people will say those things to me. All right. All right. Miss Dawn. I go because immediately, Miss Dawn, they open up your solar plexus, they open up your stomach, right? You're in a fight. You're in a soul's fight, okay? So you might call it what we say a dark night of the soul. You're in a soul's fight. And the reason being is because your soul is trying to pull you this way while your human self and your obligations are pulling you this way. So you're in what some people would call the fight of your life right now. Okay? Because you're trying to break through between the soul and the higher mind. All right? There's a lot of worry, and that's what this is kind of really boiling down to. There's a lot of worry. So it's not that you're not in gratitude, because the divine's showing me that you're giving gratitude for so many different things right now. But the fight is the worry between the mind and the release of the emotion to actually be able to believe to receive. Okay? That's the fight of the soul. And what they're showing me is there's like 5 different arrows, right, that are of your own, that are hitting you like boom, 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 boom. And this is where those arrows are creating that worry or that doubt or that fear. The soul's trying to go, oh, no, 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 this is different. I know something's different, but I just don't know what yet. And I don't have any proof to show you. And you're going, yeah, I don't believe you either because you don't have any proof. The head then stays in worry to not be able to release the soul of the fury, because the soul is ready to grow and to move into doing something new. But there's worry about how you're seen, how people see you. There's also pretenses about how you see yourself. Okay? And my chief doesn't come by often anymore whatsoever, by any means. But when he does, he means business. And he literally sat here, and if you have children around, I would ask that you please now plug their ears or move into an alternate room. I'm going to give you just a second. Because when he comes in, he means business. And it's going to take 2 seconds. And then y'all can go back to doing what you're doing. But I just need little ears to be out of the way. Man, fuck those people. All they were doing was pursuing their insecurities upon you and judging you based upon their own insecurities, their own doubt, and their own furies. You consumed that and allowed that to become your worry. You consumed that and allowed that to become your story. God is trying to give you your glory, but cannot give you your glory when you are on the floor in worry, doubt, and fear. You're good. You're good. Like let me break this down, because it's like there's like maybe a day, maybe a few hours of reprieve, right? And then out of nowhere it's just boom. And it just smacks you out of nowhere. You're breaking the what you're hearing down into a feeling. That feeling then is cascading more worry, which is cascading more worry of thought. Okay. Spirit of absence. So when my team says spirit of absence, it means you're in fear of being left without. Okay? In fear of being left without. So you're fighting with the spirit of abandonment, of drought in a different way. This is the funneling that's going on at play. Every time that you have that thought and you redirect it into gratitude or listening to something of a higher mind, that energy moves further away from you. So as if you're on this timeline, and in this reference here, let's just give you a linear timeline right now. Okay? And you're right here. Okay? And you're just walking this way. And you have a thought. That thought breeds an emotion, which brings you back here. Okay? And then you've got to work from back here to get back here. You're always going 2 steps backwards to go for 2 steps forward. But in the process of this, if you don't realize it, you should by now, you're creating a rainbow. Because even though you're going backwards to go forwards, going backwards to go forwards, going backwards to go forwards, you're learning every single time how to remove that timeline a little better each time. Progress, not perfection. But because our human mind wants it so bad, we think that we have to perfect it or we're going to miss out. And that's what causes more of the worry and more of the doubt, is the fear of being left out. You can't be left out because you're always striving. Even though you go backwards 2 steps, you're always going forwards 2 more. There's always forward progress, which means you're always building your rainbow. But you cannot judge a book by its cover, which means just because what you see happening in your physical experience in front of you is not always as it seems, because spirit is always intervening when what you don't see, what you don't hear. You cannot believe what you can't see or what you can't hear, because your mind can't fathom how much work they're actually doing with you. And when you step into that timeline again of gratitude, you remove the spirit of fear, of doubt, of worry. So every time that thought comes in, it doesn't matter where you begin. Have some type of playlist that you immediately play. Or maybe some type of devotional. I don't know. So maybe some type of prayer. Maybe some type of frequency. Maybe some type of affirmation. Okay? To immediately change the environment in which that worry comes in, so that you can change the vibration of the programming and then start your day again. Every time that you do that, yes, you might feel like you're going backwards in your experience, but you're actually moving forwards, because new levels, new devils. Everybody comes to me and they're like, fuck, I thought I was done with this. And I'm like, yep, been there. I understand that. I've got my own battles. I'm fucking spiritually human too. All right? So I understand what you're saying here in this pretense of like, damn, I thought I was done with that. Damn, I thought I was done with that. No. There's always a deepening of the layer of how that's coming through and how that's playing upon your spirit until you have mastered your healing and the divine intelligence of understanding exactly to thy own self be true, why it is what you do, how it is what you do, why you move when you move, why or how you're acting out of character. Because when you can master yourself, you can master everything else. Okay? Meaning, you can understand why somebody is being the way they're being or doing what they're doing, for you not to react to it. Because you have the higher state of awareness. So don't look at it as, oh, this energy is trying to pull me back again. No, it's trying to teach you a different way to deal with the energy so it never comes back again. Because how many times have you tried to fight worry or doubt or fear the same way and it doesn't work? Do it a different way. Okay? Do it a different way. And when you do this the different way and the perspective changes about how you're handling the energies in gratitude, okay, and trust and faith, that removes that worry immediately. It also removes you feeling like you're being left out. And when you don't understand or you don't know why something is happening or which way to go, it scares you. That's okay. I've been there too. But remember, okay, you move by sight, not human sight. You move by God's sight, divine sight. Human sight, okay, is going to try to trick the mind. Human sight is going to try to trick the mind, okay? Thank you so incredibly much for all of your love and all of your gifts and all of your confirmations as I sit here with you, even though I don't get to read all of them and look at them. One day that's going to change. I got to start screen recording it. But thank you. And I don't get to pay attention because I'm in the channeling. But I'm telling you, if you combat this worry and doubt and fear in a different way, instead of just going to breathe and being like, thank you, God. No, that's not going to work. No, that's not going to happen. No. And it's like you're battling it, right? It's like the internal soul is trying to battle it based upon its own will. And you're having to swallow a pill. And you're having to enjoy the thrill of asking for help. And what they mean by asking for help is seeking within thyself, but to thyself, of asking for help in a different way. Okay? And that's what you're having to fight through. All right? Because, Dawn, you have fought through all that you have fought through in your life. Okay? It cannot be easy by any means whatsoever being a little people in this big world, with all due respect. And the amount of hate, the amount of injustice, the amount of disrespect, the amount of shit that you've had to deal with. I understand why you would worry, why you would have all these fears, why you would have all this doubt, okay? But I am being asked to tell you that your breakthrough is very close to you. The breakthrough of moving by God's sight and not by human sight, okay, is liberating you and freeing the bondage of what used to be, or what you thought you were, or the worry, or whatever was placed upon you, okay? A lot of your life has been hurry, hurry, hurry. Now you don't have to hurry. And it's very awkward and it's very weird, okay, to allow that feminine nature to come forward. So in the soul's space, you're fighting the masculine because the female is worrying about all this and that. But the masculine is wanting to fight it logically, and it's wanted to go out, and it's wanted to fight, and it's wanted to sit here and make whatever happen and control it. And then you get the feminine energy that's going, no, we can't do that this way this time. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Well, then what are we supposed to do? And she's going, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And he's going, well, then fuck, if you don't know what to do, I'm going to take the seat. And she's going, you're not allowed to. So you're having to start over again in a different way. So when you go backwards, you're actually going forwards, but you're going forwards in a different way. Don't get stuck in the head game, okay? There's many, many things available to you to not allow you to do that. The soul is wanting to step into this liberation. So as you can see, there's almost like this pull apart between where your job is right now and what you're wanting to really desire to move into, okay? And so that's part of the obligation of the soul versus what you're moving into. All right. Thank you so much, Dawn. It's always a privilege and an honor to work with you. And so because you've been through the things that you've been through, you've had to build this defensive layer. You've had to. Unfortunately, this world and things and circumstances in this world has had a lot of us build this defensive layer that soon we realize that we don't necessarily need any longer. We don't need to worry. We don't need to fear. We don't need to doubt. We don't need to be defensive when certain energies come into our space. Why? Because we have the social, emotional, and spiritual intelligence, and we have relieved ourselves of the bondage in which we used to keep ourselves in. And so now you're going, oh shit, that's right. I do have all these tools. Here we go. And that's what you're really, really moving into hindsight 2020. Okay. The tools that you have are going to help you find the way with the divine intervention of the feminine here that is moving you into the new source of inventory. Abundance are the words that are being used, and the things that you're wanting to open up for you. Okay. 212, that's beautiful. So the stability, the emotional stability, because Dawn, you're that person that's like me. You're like, man, if I can gain the emotional stability, right, then the physical will come after, because you know that if you're cool, then everything else is cool. Where in your lifetime, you put everybody else first. If everybody else is cool, then I'm cool, right? Well, all that switched for you, and now you're going, oh, okay, well, now this is me first, and then everything else will be cool. All right, it's just a completely different way that you're having to look at yourself and look at things and how they change. All right. Right back to you. I appreciate you. You don't have to be defensive anymore, because you are coming into a timeline with people who are ready to receive you. See, we were in places and spaces where people weren't ready to receive us. They weren't ready to receive us because they weren't in that timeline of being able to see what it was that was really being moved through us at those times. Now you're realizing you don't have to be that defensive anymore, because God has moved you to a different timeline where people are ready to receive you and ready to see different avenues and different things that you have at the table that you want to bring forward. Whether that be ideas at work or ideas that you want at your life. It's like, no longer will, the frequencies of the words lift your voice unheard. And I remember in the transcripts it's saying your voice will no longer be left unheard. This is part of the frequencies and part of all those messages of God putting his people first. First will be last, last will be first. It's because there's a higher mindset, there's a higher intelligence that's working with the divine and through the divine at this time for those things to be realized. And this is partly of the reason of the succession of people getting ready for those unionships and relationships that they've always been told about, that are definitely coming in this spring and this summer without a doubt. All right. Take care of yourselves and each other. It is time for me to go. I do have to move on to some other things today. So thank you for your love. Thank you for your respect. It is a privilege and an honor to sit with each and every one of you. I will put this live up on YouTube. Thank you so much, Raphael. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful name. Oh, blessings. And I will put this up on YouTube for each and every one. And thank you, Shay, so much. It's been an honor to have you in the live too, so thank you. And get this up on YouTube for you guys to revitalize, look through, hear through,